We've made it to the month of March here in Season 4 of the Bulls franchise. We're 36-28, 7th in the East, and in episode 39 we're going to simulate through the end of the regular season and see if we can make the playoffs for the first time since Season 1. But as we do that, we will also be following the college basketball season. And first up we have conference tournaments. North Carolina wins the ACC. They took down their rival Duke for a third time this season in the conference semifinals thanks to 17 points from Jawan Williams. But it was sophomore Montre Poitras who led the way in the title game, scoring 23 points in the win. Darius Murray led the Hurricanes with 16 points, 8 rebounds, and a pair of blocks. The Houston Cougars make their third straight conference title game, but after a pair of losses to Memphis in years past, Paul Wright finally got Houston over the hump in dominating fashion with a victory. Wright scored 17 points while pulling in 17 rebounds and turning away 7 shots. Kirk Sampson led the Huskies with 17 points. The Kansas State Wildcats are champions of the Big 12. After failing to take down both Kansas and Baylor in the regular season, the Wildcats did both in the conference tournament. After a definitive 74-58 win over Kansas in the semifinal, Ishmael Carlisle scored 19 points while dishing out 7 assists in the title game. Potential number 1 pick A.J. McBride had a game-high 23 points. In the Big East, the Villanova Wildcats are back atop the conference, taking down the reigning champions in doing so. Derek Kane had a 13-point, 13-rebound game in the win, while Creighton guard Xavier Demps scored 18 points while making 3 three-pointers. In the Big Ten, it's Michigan State taking down the reigning national champion USC. After a dominating conference season by the Trojans, the Spartans hand USC their second straight title game defeat. Lindsey Anderson had 18 points with 8 rebounds and 3 assists in the win. Stephen Ingram had 15 points and doled out 6 assists for USC. The Mountain West Championship this year had a little bit more talent than it usually does. Johnny Telfair, the likely Naismith National Player of the Year, was not afraid of facing Marcus Bremer. Each prospect scored 23, but Telfair's UNLV Rebels would reign supreme. The Pac-12 champion is Arizona State with a 1-point win over Arizona. Artrell Peterson made his case for going number 1, scoring 21 with 13 rebounds for the Sun Devils to down their rival school in the title game. Bo Windler had 14 points and 5 rebounds for Arizona. And the final notable result, Texas beats Kentucky in the SEC Championship. Kennedy Thomas continued his run as one of the best three-point shooters in the nation, burying 5 of them en route to 23 points, none bigger than his final 2 from the free throw line with 3 seconds left to clinch the win. Jamari Drummond had 25 points and 7 assists in the loss. And Kennedy Thomas is one of the players in this draft with a special storyline, the season that almost wasn't. Kennedy Thomas would finish his lone season at Texas as a member of the first team All-Big 12, first team All-Freshman, and a near lock for the lottery. But the accolades and praise were very close to not happening. The quiet forward almost called it quits early in the season. Point guard Jarrett Smith, his teammate, roommate, and fellow freshman, said Thomas was pretty quiet. We figured he was just adjusting to the big lights of college basketball, so we gave him the space he needed, but I think that might have came off the wrong way. I think he thought we didn't like him or something. Thomas said that we had this team mentality, and I just didn't feel like I was part of it. I know some of that was my fault, sort of isolating myself. I think that definitely changed after the Michigan game, though. That Michigan game, the 8th game of the season, Jarrett Smith drove to the hoop and took a big-time foul from Michigan small forward Isaac Portis. Thomas immediately went to the defense of Smith and shoved Portis to the ground. Benches cleared and Thomas would get ejected. Thomas's teammate Lamar Draper said, I think from that moment on, we understood that he was a quiet guy, but he had our back like any other teammate did. If we had to pick a turning point for our season, I think it was that right there. It sort of rallied us as a team. Despite Thomas's quiet personality, his play is anything but quiet. He led the Big 12 in three-pointers made this season while shooting over 40% from behind the arc. The University of Texas absolutely loves Kennedy Thomas. The first home game after the ejection, all the students were in boxing gloves and wearing wrestling belts. Later in the year, when Texas Tech came to town, they had Kennedy Thomas Night, where the first 5,000 students got fake mustaches and mullet wigs to wear. Thomas said, to go from almost quitting to the school having Kennedy Thomas Night, it means a lot. I love this university. They showed me nothing but support this whole season, and for that I'm forever grateful. What a feel-good story. I'm rooting for Kennedy Thomas as he leads his team into March Madness. We'll leave off there, but stay tuned throughout this video as we continue to go through the college basketball postseason. And the Chicago Bulls get this episode started with a win over Miami. 25-6-5 for Ingram, Shaedon Sharpe with a double-double, and a good game from Ausar Thompson as well. And that leads us into our featured game of the episode against the San Antonio Spurs. No Victor Wembanyama, he is out with an injury, but the Spurs are still a super team, having traded for Anthony Edwards in the preseason and then Kyrie Irving at the deadline. And we are back in the United Center for more Bulls franchise action. Hope you guys are enjoying the series right now. A lot of exciting stuff to come. We are wearing our City Edition uniforms, the Spurs wearing their throwbacks, and we are underway. Edwards making his way inside. He is blocked. Clingan plucks it out of the air. Lorbeck up the court, threads the needle to Thompson. Bulls basketball at its finest. Another nice pass, and Thompson finishes it off. He has the game's first 4 points. And the Spurs' backup big man is Zach Edey. So just because Wemby's out doesn't mean we have the size advantage. And one for Edwards. And Andre Lorbeck throws it straight to Edey. Zachary Rizache. Nice pass inside to Edwards. And the Spurs are up 7-4. Lorbeck drives, kicks it out to Clingan. He is blocked by Edey at the rim. Kyrie around a pick and roll finds Rizache in the corner, misses. Edey cleans it up. Goaltending call on Clingan. Basket is good. Lorbeck isolated on the left side, gives it up to Thompson. Posting up, Edwards, and got him off his feet with the pump fake. Thompson has 6 now. Edwards driving on Shaedon Sharpe, draws a foul and hits a pair. Irving inside, gets it back. Fouled again, that's Sharpe's second. Irving hits 2 more. Lorbeck, Euro step to the rack. He is such a good driver. And he hits 1 free throw as Kuzma runs over Kyrie and is called for a charge. 13-7. We have Aaron Gordon guarding Zach Edey, which is not an easy job for Gordon, or anyone for that matter. As Ingram gets it out in transition, nice pass to Gordon for the dunk. Thompson with a steal on Kyrie. That's not easy to do. And he passes inside to Kuzma, who cuts at the right time. Down by 2. Irving to Johnson, back to Edwards for 3. This backcourt is scary. They are the current favorite to win the championship as Lorbeck gets an acrobatic finish and Thompson gets another steal. Thompson out in transition finds Gordon. He slows it down. And the Bulls back it out. Lorbeck around the screen, pulls up from the elbow, hits it. 1 point game. Gordon with the block, Edey with the offensive rebound. Rizache no good. Edey, another one. Dominating inside. Ingram open for 3. It rattles out. That would have tied the game. Jaden McDaniels and Killian Hayes are now in the game. And Hayes gets an assist on a Keldon Johnson 3. But we, of course, traded Hayes and McDaniels to the Spurs for the number 2 overall pick last offseason, which we used to select Luis Kuzma, who is also out on the court right now. 9-0 run for San Antonio. B.I. left wide open in the corner, again cannot capitalize. He only has 2 points as Dalen Terry fouls Edwards behind the 3-point line. Edwards hits all 3 and McDaniels blocks his former teammate Lorbeck. Ingram, step back, long 2, no good. Dorian Finney-Smith hauls in the rebound. Ingram is 0 for 6 on the day. Malik Roll steps into a J, and all of a sudden, we're down by 14. Luke Kennard trying to end our drought, and he does just that. Nice flare screen out to the corner for 3. Kennard with the block now. Lockdown defender Luke Kennard. In transition, it's Thompson again. He is relentless. And we have a mini 5-0 run going. Roll hits another triple. 34-22, Roll to Hayes, hits a floater. And so far the Spurs seem to be just fine without Victor Wembanyama as Sharp gets open for a step-back triple. Spurs have the final shot of the quarter. Roll will pull it and hit it at the buzzer. The second-year player taking over in the first quarter. 14-point lead for San Antonio. Sharp fading away. No! Klingon says, I'll do it myself. Roll to the rack. He has been an absolute spark plug off the bench. Getting tons of shots off with no hesitation, and there is another. We're only shooting 41% from the field right now. Ingram wide open, and this time he's got it. They haven't been respecting his jumper up to this point, but now he makes them pay. And we have no answer for Edey down low. 15-point game. Sharp floats it in over Anthony Edwards. Killian Hayes tries an off-balance shot, but it's really just throwing the ball up there for Edey to go get the rebound. That's honestly not a bad way to play offense. Ingram with the mid-range pull-up. Keldon Johnson down low, drop steps, and gets the hoop and the harm. Foul on Dalen Terry. Sharp on the right wing, driving on Edwards, and Edwards stands tall on defense. Keldon Johnson continuing to fill up the nets, and it's now a 19-point lead. Thompson taking it all the way to the rack. Beautiful behind-the-back sidestep. Now he throws a lob to Sharp. Sharp wasn't ready for it, and it's a turnover out of bounds. And at that point, I was just so frustrated that I decided to just simcast the rest of this game. I was going to jump in if it got close, but it ends up being a 27-point win for San Antonio. It must have been 3 a.m. when I was playing this game because I was not at the top of my abilities. Anthony Edwards, though, really was. He had 34 points. Edey with 22 and 11. Malik Roll has 18 in 18 minutes. And we were not able to recover from a shaky game from Brandon Ingram, who goes 5 of 16. We just didn't have enough firepower to stop the Spurs' vaunted backcourt. With that game in the books, we take another look at college hoops, as the first weekend of March Madness has concluded. The nation's top 4 teams survived the opening rounds unscathed as Baylor, USC, Kentucky, and Gonzaga march on to the Sweet 16, either on the back of their elite leaders or, in the case of Gonzaga, thanks to their veteran depth. But we do have a couple Cinderella hopefuls. Number 13, Drake, led by junior guard J.J. Brackens, pulled a pair of stunning upsets over Paul Wright's Houston and Bo Windler's Arizona to reach the Sweet 16 in a date with number 1 Kentucky. Creighton pulled a pair of similar upsets, eliminating number 5 Texas in the opening round, followed by a 71-60 win over number 4 West Virginia thanks to Zabian Demps. The 2 seeds wouldn't fare as well as the number 1s, as both UNC and Duke were taken down in the round of 32 by the Mountain West title game participants. Duke fell to number 10 Colorado State and Marcus Bremer. Bremer had 34 points and 6 assists in an 88-71 beatdown of the Blue Devils in round 2. UNC, meanwhile, saw their title hopes end thanks to Johnny Telfair and UNLV. Telfair scored 30 points, making 4 triples in the 72-64 win. Arkansas rolled on for a date with Gonzaga on the back of 27 points from Russell Slim in the round of 32, while Miami and Darius Murray kept their title hopes alive with a pair of 14-point wins in the opening weekend. Kansas and Kansas State face little competition in the Midwest and West regions respectively and are on to face Miami and Colorado State. Michigan State impressed in the opening rounds with 2 big wins, riding Lindsey Anderson, who scored a combined 54 points in the first 2 games. They'll face Derek Kane and Villanova with a chance to advance to the Elite Eight. So the final 16 teams are set, In the South region, it's A.J. McBride's Baylor Bears taking on Artrell Peterson's Arizona State, as well as Villanova taking on MSU. In the Midwest, USC takes on a surprising opponent in number 12 Creighton. 4 NBA prospects taking on 1 in that game. Zabian Demps has his hands full. Number 2 Kansas is nearly as stacked as USC, and they'll be taking on an SEC opponent in Miami. In the East, it's Kentucky taking on Drake. Potential number 1 pick Jamari Drummond matches up against maybe the best college scorer in the country, J.J. Brackens. And then it's Gordon Parks in Florida taking on Johnny Telfair and UNLV. And then lastly, the West region. And number 1 Gonzaga is a well-coached team full of second-round prospects, and they take on a potential lottery pick in Russell Slim. And then lastly, it's the mid-major bucket getter Marcus Bremer trying to keep Colorado State's Cinderella season alive against Ishmael Carlisle and Kansas State. It's shaping up to be another exciting NCAA tournament with a good mix of upsets and marquee matchups. Gonna be hard to top last year's tournament though, that was a classic. Back to the NBA, and the Bulls are down late after a bad third quarter against Memphis. We're gonna jump in here and try to engineer a comeback. If we want to improve our playoff seed, we're gonna have to beat some good teams on the road because the end of our schedule is not easy. Dalen Terry has 14 points on 4 field goals right now. I'm going to have to get him in the game. Thompson will play the 1. Sharp and Ingram both having good games. Sharp has 26. He finds Ingram in the corner, can't hit the 3. Hasn't been as consistent on those wide open 3s as we would like him to be. He gets another though, and that's good. 14 points in the fourth quarter now for Ingram, and thankfully Desmond Bane misses an open 3. Asar Thompson taking it down the left side, drops it off to Sharp, posting up Ja Morant. Little baby hook is good off the glass. Down by 6. We need a lot to go our way. Bane misses another. Thompson in transition. Nice pass to Ingram, but Jaren Jackson Jr. is there at the rim to defend him. Desmond Bane steps back for another triple, and again he misses, leaving the door open. Terry to Ingram, thought about the shot. Now drives on Jackson, finds Sharp in the corner, misses the 3. Grizzlies rebound. Jackson open from about 8 feet out and hits it. We're down by 8. Not looking good right now. Klingon scores off the glass. 6-point game. Ja Morant playing through an injury, and so is Michael Porter Jr. He misses a wide-open triple. 2-possession game. Sharp will trigger one. We need it, and we don't get it. We have to foul Ja Morant now. Not the best free throw shooter in the world. He does miss the first, but make the second. 7 points now. It's looking pretty unlikely. Thompson to a trailing Ingram, sticks the triple. He's got 31. A great fourth quarter for Ingram, but it's still looking like it's not going to be enough. We dropped this game by 8. And it was that third quarter where we got outscored by 17 that did us in. And let's go back to March Madness. This is honestly the bulk of this video, but it's now time for the Sweet 16. In a matchup of potential top picks, A.J. McBride made his most definitive case yet against Artrell Peterson. McBride ended the night with 22 while playing elite defense, while Peterson struggled to 12 points and pulled in just 3 boards. And the number 1 seed Baylor steamrolls Arizona State by 18 points. Michigan State took on Villanova in a battle of modern blue bloods, and it didn't disappoint. Lindsey Anderson adds to his case for being the top pick, dominating to the tune of 24 points. Derek Kane kept the Wildcats in the game, scoring 23 with 12 rebounds. But a Jackson McCree triple with 7 seconds left pushed the lead to 4 before a disruptive defensive possession allowed Villanova just 1 shot with 2 seconds left. A triple by Devin Bristow, which wasn't enough to beat Michigan State. The best roster in college basketball looked the part. Tu Vargas took his turn leading the stacked USC Trojans, scoring a game-high 25. It spells the end of the Blue Jays' impressive run as they took down number 5 Texas and number 4 West Virginia, but 15 points from Zabian Demps would not be enough to keep the upsets rolling. The Kansas Jayhawks ensured that Miami wouldn't again be hoisting the national crown as they did 2 years ago, decimating them with defense and timely scoring. Mac Hickman stole the offensive show for Kansas, scoring 33 on an ultra-efficient 11 of 14 field goals, including 4 three-pointers. Darius Murray led the Canes with 15 points. A loss by Creighton doesn't mean Cinderella has gone home. Drake, led by sharpshooter J.J. Brackens, ousted top-ranked Kentucky in thrilling fashion. Brackens scored 27 points, including 4 triples, but none was bigger than his last, which came with 13 seconds left to break a 75-75 tie. The three capped off a ferocious rally by Drake, who managed to hold Kentucky to just 2 points in the final 3 minutes while scoring 12 points, all on triples, to provide one of the most stunning rallies in college basketball history. I'm not sure if Calipari's still coaching Kentucky in this reality, but if he is, man, this one's gotta hurt. The Florida Gators march on as Gordon Parks leads the way with 13 points and 11 assists against UNLV. Johnny Telfair's impressive junior campaign comes to a close, but not without some fireworks, as the player many considered to have the best season in college basketball scored 22 points in the loss. There appears to be no stopping the Gonzaga undefeated train. Quentin Hobbs guided the Zags offense with 22 points and 7 assists, while Russell Slim's 3-year run at Arkansas comes up short of a national title. Slim scored 12 points in this game. And how about Marcus Bremer? His Colorado State Rams are headed to the Elite Eight with an upset over Kansas State. The sophomore wing powered his way to 30 points and 4 assists, overpowering Ishmael Carlisle. The Wildcats made this look a little bit closer than it was, as Colorado State led by double digits for almost the entirety of the second half. Back to the NBA, and we have some good news and some really bad news. Good news, we get a big win over the Rockets. Shaedon has a really good game, maybe one of the best of the season, 34, 13, and 4 with 2 blocks and a steal. And Luis Kuzma also played out of this world. Lorbeck got 13 assists, 1 turnover. But the bad news, our highest rated player, Brandon Ingram, went down in this game. And it is not a short-term injury. He is out for 2 to 4 months with a lower left leg stress fracture. And he will have to miss not only the rest of the regular season, but maybe most or all of the playoffs. Not a good time for this to be happening, as we are fighting for playoff positioning. Currently 8 games over 500, 8-2 in our last 10, which is a really good stretch, but now we got to find a way to continue that without maybe our best player. Kuzma is going to move into the starting lineup, and while I think he's been playing well enough to deserve that, I don't know about this team's spacing right now. We already struggled at times with spacing with a fully healthy lineup. I mean, we've definitely got some shooters. Kennard can hit shots off the bench. Sharp can obviously get hot at any moment. But we kind of have 4 non-shooting players in our starting lineup now. Maybe I could look at starting someone like Jet Howard or even Luke Kennard, but then we would have a pretty bad size disadvantage. Howard does not rebound pretty much at all. Kennard doesn't play defense pretty much at all. I'm not exactly sure what to do here other than just hope for the best. Sure enough, we lose and score well under our average against the Thunder. And that's even with an above-average offensive game from Ausar Thompson. A lot of guys just didn't shoot well. 6 of 32 from range. We are able to score 120 against the Owls, 23 from Jet Howard, and he is making a case to start. And maybe our offense will be all right. 119 against the Kings, 26 from Sharp, 20, 10, and 7 from Ausar. We're jumping into another late game situation, and this is a very late one, with Thompson at the line for a chance to tie with under 9 to go. He does that. 112 apiece against the Pacers, who are out of timeouts. Tyrese Halliburton takes it up the court. Gives to Almansa for the win. No good. We are headed to overtime in Indiana. And it's time to see how our offense performs in crunch time when we have our main crunch time scorers sidelined. 5 players in double figures right now, everyone playing pretty solid, but not enough to beat the Pacers in regulation. That's Matisse Thybulle missing a triple. Luis Kuzma picks up his dribble, hands off to Ausar. Now sets a screen. Thompson to Kuzma inside. Step-through shot. Rolls off the rim. Rebound Thompson. Resets the possession for Lorbeck, who crosses up Thibault. Takes it to the rack on him, and he's blocked by Almansa. We keep possession. Sharp off the inbounds pass to Kuzma. Has to try a three at the shot clock buzzer. It misses. Thibault taking it up the left side. Almansa attacked, and it's blocked by Klingon. What a recovery. In transition, Thompson throws it right to Halliburton. And he pushes it up to Almansa. He's blocked again. Klingon is such a gifted rim protector. Thompson pump fakes, drives, baseline, Euro step, and the foul. Great take from Asar Thompson, but he can't convert the three-point play. It remains a 2-point game. Quick shot in transition, Thibault, no good. Rebounded by Trey Murphy, and Klingon blocks Almansa again. He's playing volleyball out here. Kuzma with the drive, and he's blocked. Almansa getting one back. Now Halliburton not afraid to go right at Klingon, and he draws Klingon's fourth foul. I have no idea why Almansa's even in the game. Sengun has 38, and he's on the bench. Sometimes the AI needs a little hand-holding in this game, so in comes Sengun, and a rare missed free throw from Halliburton. 1-point game. Lorbeck nearly lost it. Thompson scoops it up and takes it to the rack for two. 116-113. Halliburton's spin move and a great drive, can't finish. Thompson up to Kuzma. He smokes his own layup. Halliburton around a screen from Sengun. Nice pass to him inside. Finishes, and those two clearly have a lot more chemistry than he does with Almansa. Sharp, well contested, but Klingon open for the offensive rebound and the easy lay-in. Tyrese Halliburton fouled hard by Klingon. That's his fifth. And this time, he hits both. Still up by one. Sharp taking it to the rack himself. Tough bucket. Using his body to shield the ball. Back to a 3-point game. Halliburton can't finish through contact. Good defense from Asar. He will give it up to Klingon. Lowers his shoulder and scores. And we have taken control of this game. A foul to send Halliburton to the line. He misses another. He makes the second, and he's got 36 points. Sharp steps back, now gives to Lorbeck. Back to Sharp. Oh, what a play. That should be the dagger. 45 seconds to go. Here's Halliburton making his way to the rim, and he throws it right into the chest of Donovan Klingon. Sengun has to foul him. And Sharp, expecting to be fouled again, he throws a terrible pass. Halliburton has it. Thibault goes inside with it, and Jarris Walker had his foot on the baseline. We give them a gift, and they aren't able to capitalize. They got the ball back. Walker can't hit the three. And that should do it. Big win in Indianapolis. Surviving a 76 points combined game from Sengun and Halliburton. Sharp goes for 27, so he's responding to the added offensive load well. Kuzma has 24, and we are now 41-31. A pretty good spot, but still the 7th seed in the East. And we have 10 more games to move up the standings. We play the Pacers again, then the Celtics. We play the Heat twice, the Spurs once, the Knicks twice, and then the Magic, Pelicans, and Nuggets. We play 4 more games on the road and 6 more at home. 8 teams remain in the NCAA tournament, and now it's time to see who goes to the Final Four. And we start with Michigan State, who beats number 1 seed Baylor by 10 in a tournament that saw many players place their claim for the top pick against a fellow contender. Lindsey Anderson made his best statement yet. Anderson and Jackson McCree each piled in 15 points on efficient shooting in the 10-point win. A.J. McBride ended with 18 points and 4 rebounds. USC marches on past Kansas, led this time by Devontae Zimmerman, who scored 18 with 13 rebounds. Mac Hickman led the Jayhawks again with 21 points, while Jermarcus Jinx had 11. And there will be no major upset on Florida's watch, as Gordon Parks leads the Gators with 22 points to extinguish the 13-seed Cinderella Drake Bulldogs by 4 points. J.J. Bracken still able to put up 22 points in the loss. And Gonzaga's unbeaten season is now 2 wins from completion. On the back of 15 points and 9 rebounds from Frankie Reagan, the Zags rolled on despite another impressive night from Marcus Bremer, who had 25 points and 5 assists. So the Final Four is now officially set. It'll be 2 1 seeds and 2 3 seeds, and one of those 3 seeds is Michigan State. And they have a bona fide star in Lindsey Anderson, a bruising interior finisher who kind of reminds me of Luis Kuzma. He's got some defensive potential with his athleticism, and if he can develop a jump shot, he'll be a really good NBA player. The Robin to his Batman is Jackson McCree, the former walk-on point guard who earned a scholarship by being one of the most reliable point guards in the country and playing the right way. Is he an NBA prospect? I don't know, but he is one of the best stories in March Madness, and I think a lot of people are rooting for him to make it in the pros. They'll be matched up against the undefeated Gonzaga Bulldogs, and this may be Mark Few's masterpiece. Somehow they've been able to stay undefeated despite losing their star freshman DeQuan Mooney to a season-ending injury early on. But their upperclassmen have stepped up big time. Frankie Reagan, the transfer from Florida A&M, has been one of the best rim protectors in the country, and just an immovable object down low. 6'8" forward Sheldon Parsons doesn't have a lot of scoring ability, but he is a great decision maker, and he has picked up a lot of the ball handling duties in Mooney's absence. And he shares those duties with Quentin Hobbs, a guard who has the potential to be a decent two-way player in the NBA, albeit an undersized one at 6'2", but he has fit in perfectly with this team's system so far. Florida is the other 3 seed in the Final Four, and they only really have one NBA prospect in their lineup, and that's Gordon Parks, a 6'10 wing who can shoot, pass, play the 3 and 4. Kind of reminds me of Hedo Turkoglu, but he's going to have his hands full against a USC team that has 5 NBA prospects, starting with Devontae Zimmerman. On a team with many one-and-dones in the recent past, Zimmerman has stayed for 3 years. And he might be my favorite of the USC prospects, an extremely versatile 3-and-D center who can defend on the perimeter, not the best finisher, but he can shoot from the mid-range, and so far in college, he's been a knockdown three-point shooter as well. Steven Ingram is the table setter for this offense, a 6-foot-tall point guard, can't really shoot very well, but he can score decently well inside the arc, has the tools to be a good defender. The only thing holding him back is his height. Trevon Redding is a knockdown shooter, but what makes him unique is his rebounding ability at the shooting guard position. Along with Zimmerman, Wayman Juzang is also a really good defensive weapon on this team. Zimmerman is a great rim protector, but Juzang is the point of attack guy, and he guards the opponent's best player, and he's been very good at doing that, holding great scorers like Marcus Bremer this year to season lows. And lastly, Tu Vargas has been the main scorer for the Trojans. Our scouts do not have him graded out as very good, but he has shown himself in college to be someone who can be solid from the three-point line, but is at his best driving to the rim. We'll pick back up on that soon, but for now, let's continue this playoff push. We follow up the big overtime win over the Pacers with a big loss to the Pacers, giving up 138 points. And then we get outscored by 17 in the fourth quarter, blowing a lead to the Heat. I do not like what I'm seeing right now. 3 straight losses, and now we drop one to New York. It feels like either our offense or our defense falls asleep down the stretch, and this time it's both, as we lose big time to the Magic, and I'm seeing a little too many of these games where no one gets over 20 points. And all of a sudden, we've dropped out of 7th place. Indiana has jumped ahead of us, and we're the 8th seed now. And we technically have not clinched a play-in spot yet. A lot would have to go wrong to fall out of the 10 seed, but it's possible. And look at this, we're playing the Spurs again, and this time it's a lot closer. We're in overtime after we again blow a lead in the fourth quarter. We played very well in quarters 2 and 3, but now we've got to fight for 5 extra minutes against the championship favorites on the road. Let's see if we can end this losing streak. Ausar Thompson's been on today, so has Luke Kennard. Shaedon Sharpe, though, only 12 points. And I'm putting Luke Kennard in this game over Andre Lorbeck. We'll have to wait to the next dead ball, though. Shaedon Sharpe drives baseline. Clingan can't finish over Victor Wembanyama, who is back on the court for the Spurs. Outlet pass to Anthony Edwards, and he can't hit the three. Lorbeck still in the game, only with 9 points. Sharpe will try a triple and miss it. Rebound Anthony Edwards. Still tied at 109. What a move from Wembanyama! Oh my goodness. The alien has landed. Spurs by 2 now. Thompson around a screen, attacking Wemby, drops it off to Clingan. He is fouled and misses the first free throw. Could have tied it with both, but cuts the deficit to 1. Wemby taking it coast to coast and drawing Clingan's 4th foul. Only able to hit 1 foul shot. Flare screen for Kennard. He can't hit the baseline jumper. Still down by 2. Wemby a 3. Come on! 28 points, 8 in overtime. Kennard answers with his own. 22 points for him. Kyrie running the pick and roll. He finds Edwards open. Knocks it down. 5-point lead for San Antonio. I don't know how you're supposed to cover all these weapons. Sharpe open. He hits it. He's having an off night. Only 15 points. Irving through the lane. Floats it down. Back up to 4. Sharpe gets a flare screen. Pump fakes and drives. Goes to the free throw line. And that's only Wemby's first foul. What are we doing not attacking him? Sharpe misses that free throw. Still a 1-possession game. But that was a bad miss. 2 bad misses. Wemby spots up from the mid-range. No good. Rebound, Reza Shea. He puts it in. They just have so much more size than us. Sharpe no good from the corner. And that will do it. We go 0-2 against the Spurs in this episode. And the losing streak continues. Man, our guys gave them such a good run. Ausar has 22 and 9. Kennard goes perfect from 3-point range. But usually when the game goes to overtime, the better team wins. Good luck trying to beat this team on the road when they're at full strength. It's finally time for the Final Four. Who will be crowned as champion? Will USC repeat? Will Gonzaga cap off their undefeated season? Or will it be the underdog 3 seeds, Michigan State or Florida? We shall see. And in the first matchup, Michigan State upsets the Trojans. Paced by 25 points and 4 assists from America's favorite underdog, Jackson McCree, the Spartans roll on to the national title game. Trevon Redding led USC with 21 points and 4 threes. And in an absolute nail-biter of a nightcap, Gonzaga edges Florida by 1 point to keep their undefeated season alive. Frankie Reagan Jr. led the Zags with 19 and 11, but it was a pair of free throws from Sheldon Parsons with half a second left that lifted Gonzaga for the win. Gordon Parks had 22 and 5 assists for Florida, but it wasn't enough. And then there were 2. It's Gonzaga and Michigan State for all the marbles. Mark Few has finally done it. After decades of building this Gonzaga program up from a bottom feeder mid-major, Gonzaga finally has a national championship, and they are the first team to complete an undefeated season with a title since the '76 Indiana Hoosiers, and are just the 8th team all-time to accomplish the feat. They did it on the back of a deep and veteran roster, one lacking any form of a real star. Frankie Reagan Jr. and Sheldon Parsons, both juniors, provided the veteran experience, while Quentin Hobbs was the offensive creator, but none of them profile as elite prospects. Instead, the Zags darted their way to an unblemished season thanks to disciplined basketball and ferocious defense. And they did it all without the 5-star freshman who everyone thought was going to lead their offense this season, DeQuan Mooney. Michigan State's Lindsey Anderson was having an amazing run of his own going into this game, but the Zags shut off the valve to the rim, forcing the athletic forward to make his bread from the mid-range, where he failed, shooting 3 for 10 outside of the restricted area. That allowed the Zags to build a 12-point halftime lead and an 11-point edge with a minute and a half to play before subs entered and the final score made the game seem closer than it was. So that does it for this year's college basketball season, and following these storylines have just been really fun for me because every year has been different. First, it was Damian Pack's all-time great March Madness run capped off by that national championship buzzer beater. And then the whole D.D. McDyess versus USC storyline the next season after that. And now we get an undefeated champion full of upperclassmen, second-round prospects, proving to the world that experience still matters. Shout out to the guys who created this stuff, man. They were really cooking with these storylines. All that's left to do now is finish out this regular season. And this is not the ending we were hoping for at all. 7 straight losses now as we drop this game to the Heat by 33. But despite our struggles, we do have a play-in berth clinched. Thankfully, the Eastern Conference isn't that deep. But still, I do not like the direction this team is headed in come playoff time. Our opponents in the play-in could include the Magic, the Pacers, maybe even the Bucks, who are just 2 years removed from a championship. And they still have Dame, Giannis, and Jimmy Butler. And Brooklyn and Toronto look to be in a race for that final spot. 8 losses in a row now as the Pelicans destroy us on our home court. We had 24 turnovers in this game. And we stumble into the final 2 games of the year, both at home against the Nuggets and Knicks. But man, the loss of Brandon Ingram to that stress fracture was even worse than I thought. I thought we had the depth to play without him, but I guess not. We have really been bitten by the injury bug in this Bulls franchise. And it's not just the quantity of injuries, but it's the timing. Our 2 years of making a playoff push, year 1 and now year 4, we've been pretty healthy throughout the regular season both times. And then the injury bug bites us right before the playoffs start. In year 1, we had Drew Holiday playing at an all-star level. He gets hurt a few weeks before the season ends, and we go on a massive slump where we lose the number 1 seed. And then right when he comes back, Patrick Williams goes down, and he misses the entire rest of the playoffs. We ended up taking the Cavaliers to 6 games that year, and who knows what would have happened if we had a fully healthy roster. And now we are having to play without our highest-rated player in the home stretch of Season 4, and this team looks lost. We have dropped all the way to the 9 seed in the East, 16th in the power rankings, and these final 2 games will determine if we're able to jump back into number 8 or number 7. And because of the way the play-in tournament works, there's a big difference between number 9 and number 8. If we jump up just 1 spot in the standings, that means we only have to win 1 play-in game to get into the playoffs. If the season ended today, we'd have to win 2. But let's now simcast this game versus Denver. It's an important one, and we'll jump in if it's close at the end. We have a decent lead, a double-digit lead heading into quarter number 4, and we pull away. We end the 8-game losing streak with a 32-point win over the Nuggets. 7 players reached double figures. No one scored over 19, though. Asar Thompson had 5 steals in a 5x4 performance, and we had 12 steals as a team. If we defend the way we did tonight in the play-in games, we're going to be tough to beat. And it looks like it doesn't matter that we won, as the Bucks have jumped ahead of us in the standings, winning their final 3 games of the year, finishing at 43 and 38, while we have 1 game remaining, but we have 39 losses. And I was planning to simcast that final game, but I messed up. I accidentally simulated through it. And what sucks is I have no way of retrieving the box score of that game. The only way I can even find the final score is by looking in the recent games tab of one of our player cards. And sure enough, we ended up losing the last game of the year by 27 to the Knicks. And that's not even the worst news. Luis Kuzma has twisted his knee, and he will be out for what looks like the first round of the playoffs at least. That is just absolutely crippling. And we are down not only our best player, but the guy who was starting in his place. And what sucks even more is I realized after the fact that I didn't even need to be playing my starters at all. We were locked into the 9 seed no matter what. Honestly, I think I just simulated the game accidentally, and I was planning to bench the starters, but I never got around to it. And we pay the price big time. Kuzma is a high-impact rookie for us. Of course, we drafted him number 2 overall, likely going to be all-rookie first team, and probably was a contender for 6th man of the year until he had to step into the starting lineup. Man, our depth is really going to be tested now with our best small forward and our best power forward both hurt, and I wouldn't expect to get either of them back until the second round at least. And that's assuming we even make the playoffs at all. This has just been a catastrophic episode all around. Eerily similar to the end of episode 1 regular season, when we dropped those games to the Celtics, lost the 1 seed. Patrick Williams got hurt in the final game. The only difference, though, is we got Drew Holiday back at the end of the regular season. We are not getting back Brandon Ingram for a long time. But we finished the season at 42-40, about as average as you can get. 21-20 at home, 21-20 on the road, 26-24 in conference play, 8-8 in the division. And our point differential is within less than 1 point of our opponents. 115.1 points per game and 115.7 allowed. The Raptors and Celtics end up missing the play-in tournament. Brooklyn gets in pretty comfortably. The Knicks with Jalen Brunson and Jordan Poole finished 27-55. Man, what are we doing losing to a 27-win team in the last game of our season, playing our full lineup? Just disappointing. Over in the West, the Spurs get the 1 seed, but they are tied at 56-26 with the Memphis Grizzlies. Somehow the Utah Jazz win 51 games, and they're followed by the Rockets, Pelicans, Blazers, Nuggets. But the West has really thinned out. I mean, the 7th seed is under 500, which is unheard of in a long time. And the worst team in the league is the Sacramento Kings, who go 18-64. The Warriors only 25-57. And the number 1 pick, D.D. McDyess, elevates his team from one of the worst to the 11th seed and just a hair out of a play-in berth. 1 year after winning the championship, Trae Young adds an MVP award to his trophy case, and honestly, he earned it. 27.5 points per game on 50-40-90 shooting. D.D. McDyess with an all-time great rookie campaign. He wins Rookie of the Year in a landslide. He looks like a future MVP. The most improved player is Jeremy Sohan of the Montreal Owls, who was really given the keys to the offense this season, averaging 17.7. Trae, Luka, Giannis, Tatum, and Jokic make up the All-NBA first team. The second team has a pair of Phoenix Suns and Matas Buzelis and Kevin Durant, with Ja, LaMelo, and Alperen Şengün joining them. And Scoot Henderson makes the third team alongside Tyrese Maxey, Evan Mobley, Franz Wagner, and Joel Embiid. And we get another all-defensive team nomination from Ausar Thompson, and he is joined by his brother on the first team. Neither of them won Defensive Player of the Year, unfortunately, and I forgot to record who did, but I believe it may have been Jaren Jackson. And Bronny James is an all-defensive second teamer alongside Jalen Suggs, Giannis, Jonathan Isaac, and Onyeka Okongwu. Luis Kuzma makes all-rookie first team alongside D.D. McDyess, Jermaine Rhodes, Rayshawn Snyder, and Marquise Hightower. And there weren't a whole lot of successful rookies outside of that. Simon Beneman headlining the second team alongside Ezzie Mosley, Don Van Leer, George Hoffman, and Trey Orton. And only the play-in tournament remains to determine the final NBA playoff bracket. And as the 9 seed, we will compete to face the 1 seed Philadelphia 76ers. And if we do end up getting there, we will face Zach LaVine, who we traded to the Sixers a couple off seasons ago. But first, we have to get through the Brooklyn Nets and then one of the Pacers or the Bucks. It won't be easy, especially given the way our team is trending right now. The Nets are a bit of an awkward team, and I think we are the better team here. Jalen Williams is injured with a hyperextended knee. He should be able to play through that, though. Their highest rated player, though, is Rudy Gobert, with Ben Simmons also starting. NBA Twitter would have a field day with this team. They also have the final Woj bomb, Isaac Okoro. They still got Cam Thomas. And outside of that, they have a decent young core headlined by Dyson Daniels, Gianni Giddens, Dariq Whitehead, and Noah Clowney. Tyrese Maxey is this year's scoring champion, playing all 82 games, averaging 28.5. Trae Young not too far behind him. Franz Wagner also had the best scoring season of his career, and so did Brandon Miller. And somehow, Jason Tatum, playing all 82 games, still at an all-star level, but the Celtics missed the play-in. Our very own Ausar Thompson comes in number 2 in the NBA in steals per game at 2.2. Jalen Suggs is the only player to beat him out with 2.5. Amen Thompson just a little bit down the list at number 6. And Bronny James also averages over 2. Luke Kennard actually did it. He finishes the season shooting over 50% from beyond the arc. 50.6%. If I'm being honest, I probably should have played him more than 21 minutes per game. But still, that is going to go down as one of the best shooting seasons in history, competing with Kyle Korver. And with Brandon Ingram out for extended time, we might be needing Kennard's offensive services more than ever. Here are the final stat lines for all of our players. Shaedon Sharpe leads us in points per game at 21.3. The best mark of his career, he also has 6 rebounds and 6 assists per game, with 1.2 steals and 1.1 blocks on 53% shooting. That is all-star caliber to me. And how about the season from Ausar Thompson starting all but one game? That was the first game of the season when we started Lorbeck over Thompson. Lorbeck ended up scoring 4, and Thompson went for 30 off the bench. And there hasn't been much of a competition ever since. Speaking of Lorbeck, a little bit of a disappointing year too. Now, his development may have been hampered by his benching, which is not ideal, but Thompson was just playing too well to not be starting. But still, some positive takeaways from Lorbeck's season: 9.3 points per game, 50% shooting, 5.3 assists, only 1.6 turnovers. He did his job as the backup point guard, and he was one of the better backups in the league. I still think he's going to be huge in these play-in games as a bench spark plug, and maybe even a spot starter if we have more injuries. Luis Kuzma scores 12.3 points per game in his rookie season, starting 35 of 82 games. But of course, he had to get injured in the very last one of those 82. Ingram scores 19.4, a bit of a step down from last year in terms of efficiency, but I guess you just don't know what you got until it's gone. Ever since he went down, our team has been a shell of itself. Aaron Gordon finishes the year with 9.8 points per game, so a respectable number, a little bit down from his career averages. Just was not very effective whenever I would actually play the games with him. I very much preferred Luis Kuzma. But with Kuzma out, Gordon should be able to step in and play a similar role. Jet Howard never cracked the starting lineup this year, but he was solid off the bench with 9.4 points per game and 45.1% efficiency. I expect to rely a lot more on him for shot making without Ingram. I just haven't really found a way to give Howard consistent starter minutes, as he's clearly not as good as someone like Brandon Ingram, and while I think he can be a really good scorer, he is kind of a one-dimensional player. He only got 0.3 rebounds per game this year, 0.6 steals, 0.4 blocks, so I do feel a little bit awkward about starting him at power forward. But when he is hitting shots, I do think he deserves more than 16 minutes a game. Donovan Clingan still anchoring our defense, but this is another step down for him. After a very good rookie year, his sophomore year was a small step down, and this year is a small step down from that. 70 games played, 9.1 points per game, 9 rebounds, 1.8 blocks, shooting just 47% as a rim-running center, so the finishing still an issue for him at times. And what really stands out to me is we allowed over 115 points per game, so our defense was, at the end of the day, below average. That was very surprising for me to see, especially considering some of the personnel we have. I mean, we had an all-defensive first-team guard, but we just let a few too many games get away from us. Mace Gadzarich is honestly a distant memory at this point, but he is a third player that we are missing and will probably miss for the rest of the season. So you add that to Kuzma, that makes 2 guys who can play the 4 and the 5 that we are going to have to replace, as well as Ingram, who also can play the 4 at times. That's going to force guys like Klingon, Aaron Gordon, and even Icot Lucas to step up. But also, don't forget about Dalen Terry. I think he's the only player remaining from the day 1 roster that we started with in this Bulls franchise, and he is also a key bench player. I may consider inserting him into the starting lineup if he plays well, but he's still the same player he always has been, just on lower volume. 5.5 points per game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Not the most efficient offensive player, but he can get hot in a hurry, and he can also do other things other than scoring the ball. He can distribute, and he can defend. I am definitely praying for no more injuries, but who knows? I mean, Branko Todorovic might even have to step in at times. He is a guy that I'm really excited about, and honestly, someone I believe is a secret weapon type of player. We all remember his crazy run at the end of last year when we were out of playoff contention. He had a triple-double along with some other jaw-dropping performances, but this year he's only gotten into 25 total games. But only time will tell who will step up on our short-handed roster heading into the play-in tournament and potentially the playoffs. We finally closed the door on Year 4's regular season in the Bulls franchise, and this might be our most realistic Chicago Bulls season yet. 9 seed and a play-in berth. That's been like every year for the Bulls these days in real life. I was really hoping we would return to championship contention this season, and it hasn't gone exactly according to plan. But there is still a chance. We got to get through Brooklyn, who I believe we are far better than, and then we play the loser of the Pacers-Bucks game. So I guess the Pacers-Bucks rivalry is a thing in this reality as well. But this is a first here in the Bulls franchise. We've never played in the play-in. And next episode, episode 40, we will get to see how our team fares. Regardless of the results, I plan on simulating all the way to the start of the actual playoffs. So if we win our first round play-in game, I will also put the second play-in game into the next episode. I hope you guys stick around when that comes out. We have come a long way in this Bulls franchise, completely overhauling the roster, and after 2 lean years, we are now just 2 wins away from getting this team back to the NBA playoffs. A lot of exciting action to come here on the Bulls franchise. Of course, I have 3 other series going on the channel, so hope you guys check those out as well. If you like what you're seeing, I would really appreciate if you subscribed. While you're at it, you might as well turn the notification bell on as well. Leave a comment with some feedback and even recommend me to a friend. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all soon when we start the play-in tournament.